Summer is finally here, and arriving with the latest heat wave is this season of anime. We have a few great shows returning this season along with the new ones, so even if you can't find something new this season, maybe you can catch up on the first season of the returning ones. Starting off, we have Kanojo Mo Kanojo, a show with a premise that feels like it should be on H Anime and not Crunchyroll. The story follows Naoya, who has recently started dating his childhood friend, Saki. He is then confessed to by another girl. So of course, as the good boyfriend he is, he politely declines. No, of course not. This is anime. So he acts like he's eating Mexican and goes with the fuck it, why not both method. Which in itself seems like it would make enough problems for him, but again, this is anime. So he asks both of his now girlfriends, one of whom he just met today, to move in with him. Which of course they do, because this is a hentai, I mean anime. Now you may be asking yourself a few questions like, where are these children's parents, or why do the girls agree to this? And I don't have any answers for you. Also, based off the artwork for the show, I'm thinking 2 more girls will be moving in as well. Next, we have how a realistic hero rebuilt the kingdom. This is, of course, an isekai, because, let's be honest, who fucking wants to be on this planet anymore? This time, our hero, Soma, is summoned to essentially be used as payment for a protection racket. Thankfully for him, though, he was in school to become a civil servant, so he has the kinds of skills needed to turn a country around. His talk with the king impresses the man so much, he gives up the crown, and his daughter, over to Soma. Soma then uses his big civil servant brain to come up with a plan to pay the other country. Now this is going to be a bit hard to follow, so I'll take it slow. Since he does not want to hand himself over as payment, he gets money by selling jewels they don't need. Yep. That is right. Instead of using the jewels they just had lying around, the previous king thought it was a better idea just to kidnap someone from another world. His wife might want to be careful she doesn't poke herself while cleaning his ears, because there is clearly nothing in his head to block the stick. Spirit Chronicles is, I think, technically also an isekai, but this time we get the super rare Train-kun variation on Truck-kun. Also, instead of being transported to another world, it seems like he was maybe reincarnated and regained his memories as a child. And it turns out in this world, he is the poorest of the poor. He lives in the slums with a few assholes. These assholes show up carrying a bag that they have been paid a lot of money to move. Rio, the name of the boy, goes outside and gets confronted by a few girls looking for another girl that has been kidnapped. Wonder where she could be at. Anyway, he learns he has magic, and the girls leave. He returns home to find holes in the assholes, and kills the dude with the help from a voice in his head. Of course, he finds the missing girl in the bag, and returns her. The people are so thankful for this, they send him to school. I don't expect this show to be anything more than another power fantasy harem isekai that we've seen 1,000 times. So of course I'm going to be watching this one. Remake Our Lives follows the story of Koya, a game developer who has returned to his hometown after losing his job. Now depressed, he lays on his bed only to wake up and find that he has traveled 10 years into the past. Being that he is about to enter college, he can change his entire future based on the decisions he makes this time around. This story's setup sounds just like the start of Tokyo Revengers, an anime that started last season. But I expect this show to be completely different. The most obvious change being the lack of biker gangs, but even his time travel is different. In this show, it seems like the only way he's going to make it back is the long way around, as in living for the next 10 years. I'm a big fan of the Reincarnated in the past style of story, so I'll be giving this one a go as well. Sunny Boy follows a high school that has been sent to another dimension. Though, at the start, it just seems like they're in a space of absolute darkness, but they do eventually go somewhere else. All the people in the school also start to develop superpowers, and according to the information given on the show, the students start forming their own factions based off the cliques they're in, or what they think they should be doing now. Ah damn, I just realized this is another isekai. This is the 3rd one, and I'm not even halfway finished with just the isekais this season. Anyway, this one is an original work, so I have no idea if the story is going to be any good, but I think it is interesting enough to give it a shot. The Dungeon of a Black Company is yet another isekai. It seems in this one, the main character, Kenji, is sent to another world and becomes a corporate slave. Based off the name, I'm assuming he is then forced to run their dungeon repeatedly. In case you don't know, a black company in Japan is a company that exploits their workers. What we would in the US call a sweatshop. I don't expect much from this show, but if you want another trash comedy isekai, then this is it. The Detective Is Already Dead is a promising looking show. It seems that during a plane hijacking, the main character, Kimihiko, teams up with a detective. After they seemingly stop the hijacking, the two go on adventures around the world. That is, until the detective's death, which seems obvious given the name of the show. With a name that straightforward, this is clearly based off a light novel. Anyway, after the detective's death, Kimihiko tries to return to an ordinary life as a high school student. But this is an anime, so of course that's not happening. I think this show looks like it's going to be interesting, even with what is likely going to be a strange plot. Kageki Shoujo follows Narada Ai, a former idol attending school at Kyoka Kageki High School, this school being an all-girls art school. As such, Watanabe Sarasa, Kyoko's roommate, plays the male roles in the school's plays. From the description of this show, it seems that these two will have quite different personalities, which for anime means that they are either best friends or they're trying to kill each other. There is no in-between. The show also comes with the tags of mature themes, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. So this is only for the people who want a lot of spice in their anime. Love Live Superstar is, as the name suggests, another Love Live anime. This idol anime already having multiple series out, I assume most people already know if they're interested in this series or not. Personally, I'm not a fan of these idol shows. But for anyone interested in getting into this series, this anime seems unrelated to the previous ones, so this may be your chance to give this show a try without needing to watch the other 5 seasons of it. The Great Jahei Will Not Be Defeated gives me The Devil is a Part-Timer vibes, just this time the main character is a lolly. Jahei was the second in command in the Dark Realm and was feared by all. That is, until the Dark Realm falls and she is sent to Earth powerless. While I've never read it, I've seen this manga around during the last couple of years. The art I have seen looks cute, and I get the feeling that this show may become memed like Nagatoro-san was last season. The show is also ecchi like Nagatoro, so I feel like the show will get a similar audience. Also, I have no idea if I'm saying her name correctly. Battle Game in 5 Seconds follows Akira, a high school boy who loves games and Compento sugar candy. Not sure why that matters. Akira suddenly starts battling a mysterious girl. Now possessing what is described as certain powers, he tries to win this game and destroy the organization behind it. This is another one of the battle anime that we have seen come out every season. I haven't watched many of them myself, but this one seems at the very least an okay one. Cheap Pharmacist Soul Life, making a drugstore in another world, feels like the 10th isekai so far this season. This time the character Reiji is transported to another world and uses his talents to make better potions. With the money he makes, he opens a drugstore, cause why not? This is also clearly based off a light novel, which seems like it is slightly better received than the anime has been so far. But at least this show looks cute. Life Lessons with Uramichi o Nissan, or just Uramichi o Nissan, looks like a kid show, and that is because the main character stars in a kid show. But from the description, the show seems like it's going to be looking at the difficulties of being an adult. The synopsis uses both the lines of Uramichi sensei's emotional instability and the line, a tragic eulogy to all the boys and girls who are now adults. So I think this show will be giving us an interesting juxtaposition of the cute friendly attitude of the kids show with the dark and dreary life of the main character. Plus, I just really like Kamiya Hiroshi, the person who voices the main character. Higurashi When They Cry Sotsu is the continuation of Higurashi When They Cry Go that aired back during the fall and winter season, meaning that if you want to watch this season, you're going to need to catch up on the 24 episodes that have already aired. This story follows a girl who recently moved into a small, isolated town that seems quote-unquote off. Being that this is a horror thriller, I imagine this anime is going to be quite a disturbing show. It also comes with a number of content warnings, including 3 different kinds of abuse, explicit violence, mature themes, and suicide. So, best to avoid this show if you are faint of heart. Idolish 7, Third Beat is the 3rd season of the Idolish series. It is a drama that follows a group of male idols, and it's based off a mobile game. This is the kind of anime I tend to avoid, but it has somehow gotten a 3rd season, and even has some decent reviews. So, it is either a decent show, or they are pumping all the profit of the mobile game into buying people online to review the show. And if the latter is the case, I'm more than willing to shield myself to the people at Troika if they need me. The Case Study of Vanitas is a 19th century cyberpunk show set in France with vampires. Being that I recently finished watching Castlevania and that show has basically the same tags, this show could be really good. It is also being done by Bones, which has done some of my favorite anime. Because of these facts, this show is going at the top of my very long one to watch list. The fact that the manga it is based off also seems to be getting good reviews gives me a lot of faith that this is going to be one of the better shows of this season. The Honor at Magic High School is a spin-off series with the Irregular at Magic High School. This version of the story seems to follow Miyuki Shiba, the sister and for some reason love interest of the main character from the original series. Being that she is an honor student in a school that is highly segregated based on the magic of the students, we will see a totally different side to the school following Miyuki than we did following Tatsuya. It should also add more background information for you if you're caught up on the main series. If you haven't watched the main series, then I think you're missing out on an entertaining show. Tsukimichi Moonlight Fantasy is, and get this, another isekai. RMC Makoto Misumi is the son of 2 adventurers from this world that moved to Earth to have a family, with the deal that one of their children would return to this world after they grew up. Mikoto ends up going so that his sisters will not have to. Luckily for him, he is super overpowered in this world, as living on Earth is equivalent to lifelong training. He quickly makes pacts with a couple of ridiculously strong monsters and tries to change the world. But don't worry, he's not doing this for any moral reason, but because the goddess of this world said he had an ugly face. Ah, spite, the greatest means of motivation. The Duke of Death and his maid follows the story of a duke cursed by a witch as a boy. Now anything he touches dies. He is sent away by his family to live in an old mansion, with his only companions being his elderly butler and his childhood friend, who is also his maid. This is a romance story where they try to break the duke's curse, and I am a sucker for romance, so I might give this one a try. The anime does use CG animation though, and I understand why this turns some people away. But you have to remember, CGI can be done a lot better than Berserk, so I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm Standing on a Million Lives' second season picks up where the first season left off. A cold and logical middle school student is transported to another world, Isekai, and then takes on a dangerous mission. I didn't watch the first season and I have no plans of starting it, but there are only 12 episodes in it if you plan on catching up on this action comedy show. The Idotin Deities Know Only Peace is an action fantasy show from MAPPA that follows a world where gods appear when humanity was on the verge of destruction due to demons. These gods sealed the demons away 800 years ago, so after living peaceful lives, they're missing the fighting experience needed. The show has an interesting art style, and for some reason it only has 11 episodes compared to the normal 12 or 13, but what do I know? Remain is also being done by MAPPA, but this show is going to be an original work. It follows Minato, a water polo player who gets in an incident in the winter of his 3rd year of middle school. Being that the show is also sporting the tag Amnesia, I'm willing to bet he also has amnesia. I know nothing of water polo, but it seems like to me it would be hard to hit a ball with a stick while riding on a horse that is also in the water. Should make an interesting show though. Peach Boy Riverside follows the princess of the kingdom of Aldrak. She dreams of traveling the world, which is a near impossible task for her, being that the world is filled with monsters. Luckily for her, she meets the traveler, Mikoto, and thinks her dream will come true. Unluckily for her, he is the ruthless demon slayer and fills her dream with more blood and gore than she was hoping for. But it is nice to see a dark fantasy anime this season. Other than ReZero, the last few dark fantasy anime we've had have been shit. The Aqua Tope on White Sand is an original work from PA Works. My biggest complaint for it so far is that I wish they would use a real word for the name. I have no idea what this word means. Clearly the first half is aqua, so that's water. I got that. But what about the other half? As far as I know, Tope would be pronounced tope in Japanese, so unless this show is about fake hair made out of water, I'm gonna be disappointed. But in all seriousness, the show follows Kukuru Misakino, who is an 18-year-old high school student that works in an aquarium where you can sometimes see mysterious things. The show looks interesting. Add in the 24-episode run, and hopefully it can be as good or even better than A Lull in the Sea or Hanasaku Iroha. My Next Life as the Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom X is the second season of this series. The story follows Katarina, the villainess of an otome game. Or at least she was. That is, until she hit her head and regained the memories of her past life. Being that she has played this game during her past life, Katarina was able to change the outcome of the game. And I really enjoyed watching the first season when it aired last year. And now that she has passed the story of the otome game, I'm interested in seeing how she handles the challenges she will face. Because despite having one of the best personalities you could hope for in a person, she is a glutton for sweets, and also a bit of an airhead. But altogether, I think this is a great show, well worth catching up on. Also yes, this is an isekai. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S is the second season of the show as well. Another great show, well worth the watch. The first season is a wholesome, cute show about the relationship between a human, Kobayashi, and her new maid, the dragon Toru. This show is a funny slice of life that shows that your family can be more than just who you're related to. With this season introducing even more characters, and somehow it outdoes itself again in how large they are willing to make someone's breast size. I had already thought we reached the limit last season, but then they went ahead and outdid themselves again. And not to get too depressing, but it is nice to see KyoAni doing a full season run of a TV anime, as this is the first one since the devastating arson attack 2 years ago. And the last show I'll be talking about today is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Season 2, Part 2. It only feels right that the last show I talk about for this season is an isekai. I feel like most of the shows this season are an isekai, and I think even Miss Kobayashi has a case that could be made for it being one. Anyway, this show follows Satoru Mikami after he's killed and reincarnated as a slime. If you want to watch this show, then you have 3 cores that you'll need to catch up on first, but I think it's a really great show. This show is genuinely hilarious, and seeing how our little slime friend, Rimuru, solves the problems he faces is quite fun. I think the show's in the top 5 anime to come out in the past 10 years. So, really, the question I have isn't, is this show worth your time, but why you haven't started already. If you do want to catch up on this show, or a number of the other ones I've talked about today, then you can find them on Crunchyroll. Of course, they don't sponsor me, I just really like the website. Alright, that is the video for today. Before I go though, I want to thank all my new subscribers that I've joined over the past couple weeks. I know most of you are here now because of the Gun Devil video, so please, tell me what kind of content you would like to see me do in the future. I would really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.